Speedway in Monster Energy Series qualifying. We just talked about Frank Matheu, the engine tuner on the 3 of Austin Dillon. He was just mentioned this week as one of the first pit crew all-stars, the NBC all-stars. We're going to talk about these guys all year long, men and women in the garage. Well, Frank, he's a great story. He's a retired mechanic and tow truck driver. That's actually what he says on his Twitter handle. Now the engine tuner for Austin Dillon. He's a retired Marine, been in the garage a long time. He's a great story from inside the garage area, Rick.
And I have to give him a little bit of credit for Austin Dillon's win. I would think it was a fuel mileage win. He's the engine tuner, so you got to give him a little bit of credit there.
I mean, look, when you have on your Twitter handle one line and it said retired mechanic, tow truck driver, and now an engine tuner at the cup level, that is a pretty cool one-liner.
That catches your attention. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. now on track.
He has to feel the weight of the world has been lifted. And he finally broke through. He's friends with Kyle Larson. He's seen him win races. He sees Chase Elliott running up front. Just finally breaks through at Talladega. You know, two-time Xfinity Series champion. He knows how to win races. He knows how to win championships. But you have to transition to Cup was just uphill for this young man. Whether it was his ability in these race cars, whether it was the race cars he was sitting in, it never seemed to click. And here he is qualifying third. And so far in the first round, it seems like he has another fast car in pursuit play track.
Well, that has been difficult. He came in about the same time that Roush Fenway started having trouble, but at Talladega it all came together, and we've seen a lot of young stars this season have wins.
Kyle Larson has been able to get to victory lane twice already this year. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., as you just mentioned, the 29-year-old was able to get his first career win at Talladega. Austin Dillon also grabbing his first career win, that one coming at Charlotte. And then Ryan Blaney at Pocono, stealing a win there. Blaney, one of those drivers that we've continued to talk about as falling in the same sentence with Chase Elliott. They are the future of this sport. The Ryan Blaney's, the Chase Elliott's, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s. These drivers continue to impress, and we know as we see a driver like Dale Earnhardt Jr. retire from the sport that Ryan Blaney, even though he has been able to get a win, you can't put that pressure of taking over for a guy leaving the sport after being the most popular driver over a decade, but they're doing all the right things. The fans definitely appreciate what they can do behind the wheel.
They are, and Ryan Blaney right there behind the wheel put this 21 car in the 5th position as we see Joey Logano coming to get the green flag. That cut line is very well established now with only 4 cars left to go. With Logano, Harvick, Keselowski, and Kyle Busch, you look at Kurt Busch, Trevor Bayne, Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, perhaps not going to stay inside the top 12. And Jeff, we talked at the top of the show, we usually say restricted plate racing. You go from the front to the back. That used to be the misnomer. Oh, don't worry, ride around in the back. Look out the windshield here of the 22 of Joey Logano. That is not a 6-lane wide highway like Talladega. That is 2.5, 3, maybe 3.5 lanes. And when it gets clogged up, it's clogged up. It doesn't matter how fast you are. Qualifying does matter. Pretty soon we're going to see some big names eliminated and not have the chance to move forward into round 2.
Yeah, as a rider on now with Joey Logano, he's one of those guys that if he gets that track position, he and his teammate Brad Keselowski, they block from lap 1. They do whatever they can to keep that track position. So I believe that this team really believes that qualifying matters. Good run right there. That's easily going to move them into round 2.
He's third, and there's only 3 drivers still to go. That pushes the lone Toyota that's in the top 12 all the way down to 11th, and that's Matt Kenseth, another driver that needs a win. Matt Kenseth right there at the cut line as far as the playoffs go. As we see, we're joking around with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
No
Danica Patrick.
No telling
what conversation
topic those 3 are talking about right here.
Well, I can tell you that one sitting highest, he's the one that's dominating the conversation because he talks and he talks a lot.
And sometimes he goes off on a tangent while he's talking.
Oh, there's 4 conversations going on at once with him, and it's just all of it.
That's right. Kevin Harvick now on the clock.
We talk about teammates and organizations, and really the top 12 right now is just dominated from Hendrick provided power Chevrolets, whether you're a Hendrick team member or whether you're a Ganassi team member, you have Hendrick engines, or a Roush Yates provided Ford. I mean, they have dominated, like you mentioned, only Kenseth there, who's now bumped down to 12th. So if Keselowski jumps up in front of Kenseth, basically it's going to be full of Fords and Chevys in the top 12.
Kyle Busch still is to go last. He is the lone Toyota that could break back into the top 12. As we look back to last year at this race, and Brad Keselowski making that aggressive move. And we mentioned the word aggressive numerous times. You will have to be aggressive if you want to get out front and potentially win this race, and that's what Brad Keselowski did.
And, you know, that aggressive move you just mentioned, it was basically a 2.5 lane move from the top to the bottom. Jeff, you're going to have a good handling race car with good grip in your tires to be able to pull that off with confidence. He did it last year, no problem, but that's what we're going to have to see. Very hot, very slick. You're has a different tire down here. As I walked through the garage earlier today, there's a lot of question marks on what handling. Is it going to be an issue, or isn't it, as we get longer into these fuel runs?
Yeah, as we look down to the teams that did not make the last round, were they tuned back a little bit? Did they put downforce on their cars, thinking that it was going to make their cars drive better and not qualify well, but race better? Those are things that, guess what, they're not going to tell you. They're not going to intentionally say, hey, we definitely did this. Now, the ones that don't qualify well, they'll typically use that as an excuse, but see Brad Keselowski up to 6, so that bumped back Kenseth out. And Jimmy Johnson, with one car left to go, he is on the cut line at 12.
Brad Keselowski, a Cup champion in 2012, Xfinity Series champion in 2010. Here's another Cup Series champion in Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch now the lone flag bearer for Toyota. It is all Chevrolet and Fords in the top 12. Can Kyle Busch break into that fraternity?
So, Rick, I like to pride myself that I spent a lot of time in the garage here and know these teams, but I won't lie. I had to look down at my sheet to make sure I had the crew chief right for the 18. Because it's Chaser, which is the third crew chief of the year. Adam Stevens was on suspension when the tire came off at Dover. Then Bayshore took over as an interim crew chief. They had 2 let us off last week, so now he's on 1 week suspension. So I had to just double check my stats to make sure I had the right guy on top of the box.
So this will be close right here where the Kyle Busch goes into the final round.
And he does not. He is 16th quickest, and so he will not make it into round number 2. 12 drivers, all either driving a Ford or a Chevrolet. And it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. that was fastest in round 1. Chase Elliott was second quickest. So those two have a little bit of an advantage as they get ready to start round 2. It's a big weekend of racing here at Daytona tonight, 7:30 on NBCSN. Xfinity Series Coca-Cola Firecracker 250. That telecast presented by Subway. And then tomorrow night on NBC, Monster Energy Cup Series Coke Zero 400. That coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern. Round 2 of qualifying coming up next.